Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to my reaction to episode 1305 on the Gizmoplex, Dr. Mordrid, also episode 222 of the show overall. It is the second Emily episode of the season, also the one that apparently introduces the plotline of Joel coming to the SOL, or coming into this situation. The only way I know that Joel is introduced in this episode for this season is the chat on my last stream told me that that's kind of what happens, is he's introduced in this movie before his actual movie comes out. I'm worried about how they introduced him into this show. I just don't know. I don't know what they're going to say about him or the bots, and especially Jonah's bots, because they've said specifically that that Emily's are audio animatronic bots. So they get away with that scot-free, and I still think that's very smart. So you can have different voices, they're different bots, you're not like, where'd they get them, why are the voices different, it just all makes sense. However, I'm very worried that, I'm just going to be completely transparent before we start these episodes, that they make these bots somehow the OG bots. You know, I always assumed that wasn't the case because they never mention it, and Kinga never says, like, oh, I have the original bots. I assumed that they were created specifically for this. I'm very concerned. I'm very worried about what they're going to say about the bots. I just don't want them to ruin the, like, perfect ending of the original series. They want to do their own thing, that's fine. Just don't take that ending away from us, please. So that is my hope for this one. I'm just letting you know now. That way, in case it does happen, you already know where I'm going with it. But if not, great. I want to see what else they do with it. By the way, got an unsub today. Someone was like, you know, I enjoyed the ride of your videos, but your thoughts of the Kickstarter are so out of line, I'm unsubscribing. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, peace, bro. No, I was like, if my opinion on the Kickstarter is too much for you, then you are on the wrong channel, my friend. It's literally a channel all about my opinion. So if you don't like one of them, you're not gonna like any of them. Just get out while you can, dude. Also, was it Ryan in the chat once who said this is basically a Doctor Strange movie? Like, it was written to be a Doctor Strange movie. But they couldn't get the rights or something, so they just had to change the names. That's what I heard. Why is still Call-Out Cambot in the Robot Roll Call when there's a million of him for the Gizmoplex?
The IMDb. Can I be Jamie Lee Curtis?
Why is Tom's mouth not even moving, really?
Oh, how about Peter Rabbit? Taken.
I don't... Why... What is Gypsy even covered in?
What about Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is she... Because it's a simulation? Wait a minute. We're just really quick thing, real quick. Why do they even need a Gypsy on this SOL if it's a simulation, if it's like a simulator? Gypsy runs the ship, like, that's the thing. I think they even say in season 11 that, that's why Jonah made her more maneuverable. I know it's for the puppets in real life, but in the show, it's to make her more maneuverable so she could do more things with them while running the ship. So, why do they have this Gypsy? Is that why her tube looks all weird? Because it doesn't actually do anything?
Makes me feel small. No! Stop doing that!
Sorry.
That was a pretty good edit.
Have you considered bringing back one of the original hosts?
No. Oh.
You must do it or the future will be irreparably damaged.
It's kind of...
What? That doesn't make any sense. Fascinating. So it's a time thing. Okay. Okay, so that means that even if it's supposed to be the OG bots, let's say, it doesn't matter, because they're a past version of the bots. So at least then, yeah, I like, they're just making it so convoluted. Like, oh, we gotta add time travel, because the only logical way we could put Joel in the show, but he's gonna look older. He's gonna look 30 years older. How are you gonna, what's the excuse gonna be for that, then?
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
So why with GPC, is it GPC 2? But it's not Tom or Crow 2.
A journey of self-discovery.
A reel of a mouthful of bubbles. Oh, I could take on the world.
I do love carbonation.
From your favorite Gilbert and Sullivan operetta.
Are a bunch of Gilbert and Sullivan stuff public domain? I am the very model of a modern major general. Oh hey, here we go, I knew it. Saying this on the Muppet Show and VeggieTales. I'm sorry, the mouth isn't moving really. It's like it's almost imperceptible. Like,
It's what happens when a second-rate superhero gets ripped off by a third-rate studio on a fourth-rate budget.
Nice.
Really blame Milo for not
Yeah, he didn't put his full name. That's funny. That's the best thing so far is that credit.
But courage alone won't be enough.
Looks like a lot of people are praying for a man named George Bailey.
Give me those wonderful life references, buddy.
store, or at least a Target.
Why is it like slow-mo and weird? Okay, so Gypsy just popped in. I didn't even notice that for a second.
Put 'em back on.
Move your finger off the lens.
You're right.
Now return to Epcot Soarin'.
Yeah. That's such a good ride. They're letting Chip stay in for a little bit. At least they had her in for a few riffs, which is a lot less bizarre to me than when she only comes in for like one riff and then leaves. Again, it made sense when she was bringing in the cooler or whatever, but now it's just kind of weird. So at least that makes a little more sense to me. At least have her do a few before she leaves.
I had the weirdest dream. I was going to play Doctor Strange, but we lost the rights to the character.
Yeah, they made the movie anyway. Why would you do that?
No, I've been here since Christmas, and this is only the second time I've ever seen you.
Well, it is December 27th.
100 years ago, this was a nice place to live.
Does he know that because he was there because of time travel, or does he know it because he was there because he's like 100 years old?
I've been calling it Platinum for years.
It's like when, as an American, when you first hear a British person say aluminium. This guy's no Benedict Cumberbatch, let me tell you.
Cannot be ignored.
And time. New personal best.
Like, why would he look at that during the lecture? So she literally walked in to be in there for like 2 seconds, and then it's done. Moments before the incident. So far, this one is alright. I feel like it was a better pick for them than Beyond Atlantis. At least for the first one, I might have picked this one.
Oh, buy me dinner first. That's a classic.
You know, on the way over here, the moon hit my...
I like how into it she is, I guess. I will say, Emily is doing a lot of good facial emoting, which you have to when you're going to be with puppets that can't emote at all. The hairline is also way worse on Emily in this one with the green screen than the last one. I'm just saying. So on this one, the green screen is definitely worse on this one than on her first episode, which is weird. But like I said, I liked Emily's expressions a lot in that one. Because she was really pulling it off, having to pull a lot of the funny in terms of visuals for the gang, because the others can't really do that. It's more of like a Lando Calrissian cape. Is this supposed to be like their answer to the Ancient One? When it comes to prophecies like this, and like this bad thing's gonna happen, but you know it's gonna happen. So either you can try to stop it, or it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know what I mean? There's gotta be a way to beat these things, man. Prophecies are just too easy of a thing for any script to, like, get away with. How can you do that? It's foretold. Like, okay. And I mean any movie, not just bad movies.
Alright, anyone else just hoping he just vaporized?
Sure.
Yeah, right? He's like, I'm done with this.
Bonjour.
Oh, gosh. I will say, Crow's, like, Ash Ketchum voice does kind of go with the really corny jokes for some reason, not even gonna lie. Like, I don't know, probably because it sounds kind of like a little kid.
We let our guard down. Come on. See for yourself. He killed him.
Oh man, is it gonna be that Dr. Cabal is also evil?
Journey across to the world of 3 dimensions and kill him.
Isn't everything in 3 dimensions?
You can't stand guard if you can't see.
So go back
Right.
to work.
Already days have passed since I arrived here.
Then get back to me.
You've been here like 10 seconds.
Casual Sam action figure comes complete with Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah, they like keep wearing pajamas out and about, or what look like pajamas.
Committee, and he never even answered my note. Well, I'll tell him all about it.
I also wouldn't answer that note even if I was home.
One does not simply walk into Mordrid.
Oh no, oh she thinks there's a fire inside.
Firefighters.
Holy crap. He could just split his skull. I feel like if the door was that hot and you thought a fire was set, you'd be able to hear the fire at that point. I mean, I guess I get what she called, but I'd be like, since when is fire silent? Because it's not.
Cozy or...
Crossbred. Invasive.
Good night. It's like noon based on the lighting back there. It's just like, it's as if he like took a studio apartment and just made it and just made it like a study, and that was it.
This book is 200 years old.
How would you know that? And why would you touch it? Gonna get your finger grease on it. Dude, she already liked him, clearly, so I'm like, which for some reason, but now knowing he has a bird, she's gonna be like, oh, he's so quirky! Look at his place, look at his bird! She's gonna be even more obsessed with him. I'm sorry, wait a minute. Even if I was interested in a guy, and he's like, yeah, come in, and I go into his house, and all his books are 200 years old, burned, and are about the dark arts, I'm sorry. It's like, I'm gonna end up in a body bag somewhere. This guy is gonna use me for some kind of sacrifice. I'm out. I'm a good Christian woman. I'm out of here. What the heck? Why is she, like, charmed by this? Just because he said criminology, she could be like, oh, that's kind of what I do, what I wanted to... Like, no! This guy's into witchcraft! You get out! What is wrong with you?
I had men.
Clearly this man is nuts.
I'm a special consultant to the NYPD involving cults and Satanism, mostly on homicide cases.
Law and
Okay,
order.
what? Okay, whoa. Okay, I don't live in New York. Never have lived in New York. Never part of a criminology team in New York. How many crimes in New York involve black magic and the dark arts that they need someone, a consultant whose job is only that? If you had a consultant that was into any kind of, like, religious motivations, or anti-religious, I guess, even motivations on crimes and stuff, and that included this evil stuff, okay. But were there ever enough people committing enough dark arts and witchcraft-based crimes to be a person whose job was solely that? Like, I just feel like that's kind of insane. Like, why, like, how many, unless you have someone going on a spree that's, like, doing it for that. It's like in that JonTron, where it's like, it's the knife safety video, and they walk on this woman who's doing, like, a whole, like, occult ceremony or something. It's, like, crazy. It's like, is that what this is? Is it those type of people that they're trying to protect us from? What the heck? I like that they hire these people to be like, we need two people that look like they're into the dark art stuff when they're clearly just, like, two people they found at, like, not even a Hot Topic. Like, I don't even know where. They don't even look like Hot Topic people. Jesus is like, get out of my damn church. Everything this guy says is in the same exact tone of voice. And it's very annoying. He always sounds like he's kind of on the verge of a meltdown as well.
You want to look at the library?
No thanks. I never want to see you again.
We were cast out of heaven, right? That we were.
And for the record, it did hurt when we fell.
So they're supposed to be, like, fallen angels? What?
Like manna.
Again, though, wouldn't that just prove why you should have stayed with God in heaven? If he's like, what?
He's kind of a recluse, but I'm sure he's...
Kind of a recluse.
Spiders.
He absolutely just let you into his house, told you all this stuff about him and his crazy life. That's not a recluse anymore.
The crystals of Endor. It will take more
Endor? Yeah, I was gonna say we're in Star Wars all of a sudden.
years to prepare for this.
Gulp.
Why don't you use some of your legendary...
If you're magic and you can, like, live indefinitely, does it matter if you have to wait 100 years for something? Thanos is gonna come in, like, 30 years anyway, dude. Like, might as well let him have it.
The sorcerer is not a god.
But a hot dog is a sandwich.
So are they fallen angels? Are they sorcerers? What? I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know if are the sorcerers fallen angels? Are the sorcerers people that have learned the magic from learning about the occult and all this stuff? You know, and if it is that they were, like, evil to start with, why did Dr. Mordrid change his mind? Like, I am confused.
Tastes sweet.
Like Ovaltine and circus peanuts.
Ew. That'd be the grossest thing in the world, man. Ever had circus peanuts? I recommend trying it just to say you know how gross they are for sure. They gotta be up there with, like, Necco wafers as the worst candies.
But where are we gonna find a bowling pin up here?
No, no! Oh no!
No, it's
The-
the last one.
Oh no, the last one! Wait a minute. Isn't he brand new? The animatronic is brand new. That was... That was cute. That was a cute reference to them being made out of other things. That's fun.
Now I sent you to him so he could help you solve this case, damn it!
Yeah, which he did. As soon as I saw this. You see,
That's true. It is the well, yeah, wait a minute. I mean, granted, this guy clearly is supposed to be painting him as a jerk, but you have a crazy murderer using these occult symbols, and this dude is a master of them and has the same thing on a necklace that he admitted to her was specially made. Dude.
So if I were like a wizard, then alchemist, whatever.
Third base.
Dude, you are not in the position to be, like, correcting them right now.
Just love trumped up charges.
Again, though, so far, I don't feel like this cop is in the wrong for being like, hey, I think this dude might be the guy we're looking for.
Come on, Tony. I understand this stuff. It might clear some things up.
Wait, are those my glasses?
I was about to say, aren't they wearing the same pair?
You're gonna need a lot more on them than you have now.
Look, according to you,
I don't know, man. Just the fact that he admitted this thing was specially made, and it's the thing that's showing up on the victims. Like, okay.
I'm not writing a book.
I am the book.
Right. It's an autobiography.
So that you comprehend the magnitude of why I cannot.
What? Everything he says sounds like this.
We're live on Twitch. Thanks to Donkey Dan for the 3-month sub.
Competed in everything.
Duck, duck, gray duck.
Sometimes one would win.
Duck, duck, goose. What the heck? Who says? Oh.
10 years on their sentence.
Who says great duck? Whatever. That's weird.
Abracadabra story.
We can walk right out of here. No one will be harmed.
Just burned.
Yeah, right. I'd be like, dude, I don't know if I can trust you with that though.
The alchemist has the essence of the elements as his tools.
When I combine...
Then why do you need magic? That was instant blow up.
Arrest me.
I would just think this dude's like as high as freaking. Like, if you shoot someone and they have like no physical reaction, they're just high as an effing kite. They're one of those people that's like so cracked out that like you just can do whatever, and they're not even. It's gonna to them in their mind like they're not gonna even feel it. I'd just be like, when you take this dude down, man.
While the other fell asleep on the couch watching Hollywood Squares reruns.
I'll have you know they were Jeopardy reruns.
And can't even pronounce the word Polster.
It's Pulitzer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I almost said something. I do like that Emily and Tom just like, we're just gonna scoot off to the side and keep going. Sometimes when you have a bunch of siblings, it is like that, man. You're like, let's just hold two separate conversations here, I guess.
It's gonna take an hour in this traffic.
What are you gonna do, fly?
I was about to say, you're magic.
Since I'm your hostage, I have to do as you say, right?
That Stockholm Syndrome kicked in fast.
Yeah, ew, don't.
Body search mandatory. I'd be surprised if it were voluntary.
Gosh darn it, just stand still and let me shoot you.
Enough for our sins.
Is Cabal wearing tap shoes?
Is that guy wearing tap?
Yeah.
Ah, the Communist Manifesto.
Is that literally just glitter in water?
In the name of the Dark Lord, Lisa Frank.
Man, you gonna take that?
Are you really gonna make a dinosaur like come to life? Oh my god. That was probably one of the best Gypsy GPC lines that's been in any of these seasons at all. That was pretty good. Oh my gosh, guys. You're really doing this. You're really making a dinosaur. And they're just shooting it like that's gonna help. He's had that same look. Oh my gosh, the claymation. I like them laughing too, being like, what the heck? Are you gonna no, dude? No. Okay, what is that?
Wow.
Yeah, it did look like that.
Whoa, Cabal just got raptured.
Wow, that would be ironic. If you, okay, wait, real quick. If you had been like, Faith, I will give you $1 million if you can guess what happens in the climax of Dr. Mordrid, and I will give you 1,001 guesses to earn this $1 million. I still wouldn't have earned it. Two dinosaur skeletons come back to life. Like, oh my gosh.
He's launching a
Oh, was he gonna like, oh, he like Ursula'd him, damn.
Time to change your oil, sir. Sir?
Well, that was easy as hell. Like, what was the point of all this? You go through all this, the whole movie, he's like, oh, we gotta get it back. This movie was super small scale, by the way, thinking about it now. He's like, I've waited 100 years to get my demons back on Earth. And he finally opens the door, not just for it to immediately close, which is already, like, that's like if in Hercules, when Hades is like, I'm gonna release the Titans, and that's like one of the goals through the movie or whatever, then it like starts to open and then never opens. It's like, wait a minute, what was the point of building it up this whole time if you're not going to use it? And then he just was, all he had to do was stab him. You just had to stab him. It's like, that was it. Oh my gosh. Like, and this isn't even like a reversal, you know what I mean? Like, it at least, it would still seem easy if it's like all you had to do was stab him, because it kind of seems like, I guess, is it supposed to be a magical stab because it was through something reanimated? Because I'm like, in that case, I'm like, wait, if he can make it so that one guy can't get shot, why wouldn't he make it that he himself couldn't get stabbed? So, maybe I'm wrong and that's not the end, but talk about the most anticlimactic ending to a film I've ever seen. Like, that's, wow. Man. What the, how do you even find them? Like, they're literally randomly in Central Park.
He's about to Krav this guy's Maga.
My little cousin Carlo knows Krav Maga. He's actually a black belt in it at 14.
I command you to the other side.
You done goofed.
I have to leave.
We'll go together.
Wow,
Are we-
red flag.
Right? They just officially met. What is this girl on? This, like, oh my gosh, like, she is, oh man, what about, talk about a creepy love interest. Like, a lot of Mystery Science movies have creepy love interests, but a lot of time they're dudes. This is like a really creepy woman love interest, my guys. Like, this is really weird. She's very intense. And not just that, he has no personality. Like, just by the way he talks, you're into the same things. That's important in a relationship, but I would assume it's also important that the other person is interesting. He's like the blandest dude I've ever seen. For a dude that talks about occult shit all the time, you'd think he'd be a lot more interesting.
Just tell me what kind of weirdness to expect and I'll handle it. I think I've done pretty good so far.
You are the landlord now.
Yeah! No one owns the building anymore.
We can't afford flashing lights.
Yeah, what? Oh my gosh, they couldn't even rent. That's funny.
From your puny weapons, you ain't got.
Oh! Best part of the movie.
You're a dedicated cop.
Notice how she didn't say good.
The Hallmark Channel presents Edgar's Christmas.
Yeah, that absolutely looks like a Hallmark opening.
We'll watch It's a Wonderful Life for the 100th
Yeah.
time.
Maybe Uncle Billy won't blow it this year.
Wait a minute, that also makes this a Christmas movie. Just like Mitchell, what the hell?
Thanks for taking care of Edgar for me.
Yes, this is the same
Oh,
bird.
you here to stay for a while?
I'll need some help. Somebody I can trust.
Did they really think they were getting a sequel out of this shit?
But it wasn't, though.
But there was a Christmas tree.
They're gonna have that debate.
Die Hard came out July 15th, 1988. It's a summer blockbuster, not a Christmas movie.
How do you know when Die Hard came?
Yeah, right?
I have this discussion a lot.
With who? Wait.
Christmas.
Well, it's October 13th. Obviously.
So it's a Halloween movie. But, okay, whoa. This debate, we can get into this debate, but, because some people, like, I'll let people say, like, Mitchell's a Christmas movie, Dr. Mordrid's a Christmas movie, Die Hard's a Christmas movie, just because it's funny. It's not a movie I would traditionally watch at Christmas. I guess that's the difference for me, is like, yes, it is technically a Christmas movie, regardless of when it was released, in my opinion. If there's a Christmas tree in it, if it takes place at Christmas time at all, it's a Christmas movie. Again, release date aside. For me, it's just like, yeah, it's a Christmas movie. I just don't watch it at Christmas. But it's not, to me, it's not like a movie I must watch in the season, I guess is what I'm saying. Nightmare Before Christmas also was obviously released. That's a terrible argument on Emily's part, because obviously it was released in October, so it could get the holiday season bucks. Because a movie released in October is going to be open through November if it's a movie that's doing well, which obviously they assumed it would be. So, opens in October, you get the Halloween bucks for the Halloween audience. After that, Christmas season unofficially starts, and then you also get some Christmassy bucks in there as well while it's still in release. So that was a terrible argument on Emily's part, I'm just saying. The rest of it I understand, even if I don't agree with it, but that one I'm like, girl, like, this clearly was to get all the holiday dollars.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Well, actually released on January 7th, it's a New Year's morality play about the evils of forgetfulness.
Well, also, if you take evils of forgetful, what? No, the whole point of It's a Wonderful Life is the whole, like, one man's life can change so many others. It's not about forgetfulness. Like, okay, Emily. Like, let me get into this real quick. It's a Wonderful Life is my favorite movie of all time. It's not about the evils of forgetfulness. It's about how one person, one thing in your life can change everything, not just for you, but for all the people around you, even if you don't know it. Not just the fact that George Bailey decides to not throw his life away, but every single decision he makes, the decision to jump in after his brother, save him from the water, the decision to not go to college to save the building and loan, the decision to then let his brother have his married life and again stay and not go to college. Each one of those decisions has a huge effect. It's not just his life as a whole, it's everything he does. Has a huge effect on all of those around him. And it just shows what each one of us is worth. So, like, I never get a chance to talk about It's a Wonderful Life like this, so I had to take it real quick. It's not about forgetfulness. It's about knowing that everyone's life has meaning and a purpose, even when it feels like it doesn't and we can't see it. There's also a very good VeggieTales based on, which I know is going to sound random. It's a Meaningful Life. It's a very good episode. And again, it shows how one thing that could seem horrible to you, actually is affecting your life and the life of those around you for so much better than you thought it was. And that's what the point of that is. I've never gotten a chance to get into It's a Wonderful Life discourse. So thank you, Emily, for being wrong so I could talk about it. Otherwise, again, a lot of the early stuff she was saying, understood her points. Now when she's like, but that's clearly, because the release date, it makes it a this movie, I'm like, eh. And then for me, I'm like, screw whether it's Christmas or not. Excuse me, It's a Wonderful Life is worth so much more than that. So Emily's nutty. Emily's nuttier than a fruitcake. Who the hell is like, this was released in November, Thor Ragnarok, Christmas movie. What?
Meeting of the Arrangers, Earth's fightiest hero.
Wait a minute. So we got Captain America, like, obviously these are like parodies. Captain America, Harley Quinn, and it's supposed to be Rorschach? I can't tell. It's supposed to be Rorschach as Crow? I don't know. Either way, ridiculous.
Well, you're GPC too.
Aw, wait, okay, again, this is just weird to me. Tom Servo and Crow are just called On the Simulator of Love, are Tom Servo and Crow. But GPC has to be GPC too? Why can't she just be GPC for the Simulator of Love? Like, these two bots are the Crow and Tom of the simulation. That feels kind of demeaning, honestly, to be like, okay, you're the second one. Even then, the GPC that Jonah has isn't the first one. Like, it's like, in general. First of all, it just adds more of a mouthful to when you're talking about her. But secondly, just like, I think I caught it in the theme song too. I was like, really? That just seems a little weird to me. It seems bizarre. The other bots don't have that on them.
Arrangers,
That's fun. That would actually be, that quartet right there would be an incredible group costume. That would be an incredible group costume. If you had a convention or something, or a fun Halloween thing to go to.
receiving a call from Dr. Lawrence Earhart aboard the
Someone told me he was in this season.
He asked me to go into the time bag and bring back a host from the golden age of Mystery Science Theater.
Hey!
Just relax. You got a preference? Joel? Mike?
No. Okay. Whew, okay, whoa. Okay, wait, whoa. First of all, I was just gonna pause it to be like, them being like, hey, I'm like, didn't you not want to do it? Weren't you scared to do it? Like, I guess now they're like, they're putting someone else to do it. Oh Lord, I'm sorry. Before they even say what's gonna happen, I just want to put my 2 cents out there because I just happened to pause it at this time. I'll rewind it a second. Why even bring Mike up? Why even bring Mike up? We already know it's not him. As an audience, we knew months and months and months and years in advance it was not going to be him. Why would you even bring him up? You know why you could get away with not bringing him up at all? Because Dr. Earhart never met Mike, never knew Mike, only was there for Joel. So they could have just made it automatic. He's like, oh, you need a host? I'll go get Joel. That you don't even need to say anything. But as an audience, we could infer, we could like know that it's implied that it's because he was just the one, Joel was the one that he knew. So he just went and got him. I would not have brought Mike up at all. Not at all. Like, because first of all, there's still to this day a couple diehard Flame War people out there, and I'm like, whatevs, man. Like, okay. And it's like, and I enjoy both Joel and Mike's styles. And again, I don't know what their answer is going to be. I just would not have brought Mike up at all. I just wouldn't have done it. You know, I just wouldn't have done it. Either have it be completely random, quote unquote, or have Dr. Who be like, yeah, I'll go get you one, or I'll go get him, and then just gets Joel automatically because that's who we had. I would not have even given the suggestion of Mike. Okay, to start, I think that was definitely better than Beyond Atlantis for Emily, for these bots. I feel like, maybe it was part of it, I think, was the movie itself. It's not a good movie by any stretch, but I feel like the corniness is different than the Beyond Atlantis corniness. And I think for a first episode, this movie's a little bit more dynamic. I think it's also a little bit more giving in terms of being able to riff. They started putting in things like the in-theater laughs, the like them kind of talking, even them talking on the credits, felt a lot more natural, and you're starting to get personalities out of all these guys, which is good. Even the host segments, which I think some of them weren't particularly strong, but not weak. Well, like not super weak either, or they each had like a little bit of merit in some way. Definitely like this one better for Emily. I think that it just, like I said, it works a lot better. I still think that they write the scripts, I don't want to use the word generic, but they write them very samey. It's the same writers, so I get it. But again, you know, again, this is the only other example I really have. When the trio at Riff Tracks riffs and when Bridget Mary Joe riff, the vibes are very different. And I feel like they got a little taste of that in this. But I feel like they're starting to come into their own a little bit. But I think they can go further. I think they can do way more showing Emily and this Tom and Crow's personality on the simulator in the actual films a little bit more. I want them to keep growing in that direction. They're getting there, but I want it to keep going because I think that's strong. I think that's where some of it is the most, even if it's not like gut-bustingly funny, I think it's the most interesting and the most entertaining regardless. I could take these off now, actually. Ooh, fluffy hair. So I knew Dr. Earhart was coming back, didn't know it was this episode. The idea that it's time travel is like such an easy frickin' out, but it does guarantee that they can't be giving him the bots of the original, which is what I didn't want. Or if they do get like the bots of the original, it's like a time travel thing. It's not from the end of the show. Because that was the one thing I didn't want, was like, since season 11, I was like, please don't ruin the ending of the original show, and they haven't. Like I said, I'm interested to see how it goes with Joel. I'm hoping that it's really good. I'm hoping that it's really strong. Like I said, though, in the movie itself, or in the episode itself, why even bring Mike up? Also, I get it, because they're the bad guys, and they don't really care, whatever, but being like, aren't they the same? I'm like, there's an entire corner of the internet that completely disagrees. Like, also, I guess it depends on the attitude of the riffer. You'd think, if you're talking about ratings and, like, the attitude of the people you'll be working with or whatever, like, since they're the ones kidnapping them, etc., you like, honestly, you probably would still want Joel because you want one that's a little more passive. But in terms of, like, personality and in ease of work, it's like you really need to look at it because they are very different. Like, Mike is gonna try like hell to get out of there. Joel probably isn't. So, like, going with Joel would have just been the smarter thing to do in terms of their job, not in terms of the actual riffing necessarily. That's, you know, it's up for debate, it's up for whatever you're looking for in your riffer. But if you're just talking about We need to kidnap one to have yet another Riffer for our experiment, and we want someone that's going to be easy to manipulate or mess with or whatever. Joel is definitely the one you would pick over Mike. So, like, if they'd given that reason, totally get it. And I get that they tried to be like, oh, it's the same, so they wouldn't offend anyone, but I'm just kind of like, well, you're already missing the point. And again, they're the bad guys. But I think they could have been like, oh, Joel's going to be so much easier for us to deal with because Mike was, like, a fighter. Would have been great. And then, like, again, if you're going to mention Mike, then you're mentioning something unique about him because you're using Joel. But the fact that you're doing that, just in the way that I just wouldn't have mentioned Mike at all. I would even be like, hey, or have it be Dr. Earhart be like, I'm gonna go get Joel, and then be like, what about Mike? You know, and he'd be like, does it matter? And then they could be like, I guess it doesn't. And then just have it be that Dr. Earhart assumed Joel because that's who he knew. So again, much stronger Emily episode. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her episodes as we go through the season. I just feel kind of bad because, again, originally Jonah and the guys only got like 20 episodes before this. Emily gets literally 2 before you bring Joel in. And I just feel like these new guys need to be able to stretch their legs a little more. And even if they have to split a season, Emily finally got an episode where she got her own episode and Jonah wasn't in it at all. When he was in a bit of her first episode. She might have been in a bit of Munchie, was she? I can't remember. But either way, it's like she finally got an episode that was like all hers. But all the host segments with the Mads are talking about getting another Riffer in and then getting Joel back. So then it's not completely focused on her as the host. Which I think is kind of a mistake. I feel like, and after Joel's introduced, maybe she'll have more like that. But I think that if you're then going to have the 2 hosts, let them also be their individual persons. Let them have episodes where the other one isn't involved at all. And Jonah got a few of that because she wasn't there yet. Even if you're just counting the first episode, because she's mentioned, like, from then on. But at least he got one. And Emily could have had one, but you had to bring up Joel coming back for the next one. So I just feel kind of bad that, like, these guys, you know, Jonah and this crew are like, you only get 20 episodes, and then we're bringing in a season where there's a bunch of you, and then Emily gets literally 2 episodes, and in both those episodes, another host is either in it or directly mentioned. And I want, you know, like, Jonah and that crew of bots and Emily and this crew of bots to be able to completely stand on their own with, like, no mentions of the other ones, just to show that, like, respect. And even then, I think Jonah at least had that in a couple seasons when this wasn't a thing, and Emily hasn't had any episodes like that. So I think it'd be fair to Emily, Kelsey, Connor to have episodes where the others aren't mentioned at all, and it just exists, you know? And in my opinion, I just think that'd be nice. So this is just something really quick that I want to point out, okay? I just happened to scroll down before I clicked out of the Gizmoplex page, right? I was scrolling down to see when the Gamera movie was going to be released, which is sometime this month. I didn't actually look. I got distracted because what I didn't know is that you could leave comments on these episodes. I had no clue because I have not actually searched the Gizmoplex that much. I know I need to. I know I need to watch the behind the scenes thing. I need to look more into it. I didn't know you could leave comments. I've not looked at any comments on anyone except for Dr. Mordrid because I didn't know they existed. And as I went down, most people are saying that they love it, that it's great, blah, 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 blah. And a few people have said things like, from what I was just, all the comments I was seeing, most of it was just that it was great and amazing, and they love Emily and this crew, and they're just getting better, all that. Then I saw 1 or 2 comments that were like, I love Emily, or I really like this crew. Crow's voice is a little off, like, could they, you know, switch out the voice box? And some people were saying that it could still be, the people were saying, like, it could still be Kelsey, but have her change it up and not sound so much like the gravelly kid voice, I think. But then I saw someone that said, everyone's saying there's hate comments. Where are the hate comments? I'm not seeing them at all. And someone commented on their comment, like, responded and said they're all being deleted and censored, was the word they used. And they're like, the only opinion that matters is the right one. And I was like, sheesh, like, what? So then I'm scrolling down, I'm reading again, almost completely positive. And then we got to one where someone's like, yo, y'all are deleting comments. Why are you doing that? Like, that does not seem, like, it seems like you're avoiding criticism. And then someone with the Gizmoplex, apparently, said, we're not deleting actual criticism, we're deleting what we deem as, like, hateful comments to people in particular, because that isn't, like, helping the show be better. And he's like, if you have any actual concerns, you can email us here. And I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents real quick, regardless of how you feel about this show or any show, regardless of you creating this show or any show, okay? You're on the internet. You're on the internet. You're part of the continuation / reboot club. Not only that, but this is a sequel season to the Netflix series, and you're already changing things from that as well. If you change anything on the internet, even if you only had the Netflix seasons to go off, people are going to get mad. People are not going to like it. There are people that told me specifically they didn't want to give season 11 a chance. And that's their choice. And that's fine. When you put yourself on the internet, can there be things that are too hateful and aggressive? Absolutely. If it's direct harassment or threats, absolutely get rid of those. That I absolutely understand. If someone is being critical, not even not in a constructive way, like I really try to keep most of my stuff like constructive criticism, if that's what I'm giving, right? But that's not what all my comments are. You know, I have had comments, not a lot. I've been very blessed in the fact that I don't get this stuff a lot, but I have had comments that have called me a fat pig because I didn't like the 2019 Lion King reboot, you know, and I did not delete that comment. I have had people being like, you're just this shrieking, terrible person who shouldn't be talking over riffs. You should just let them speak for themselves. And people have gotten personal in some of those comments, but like, I leave them. It's something that you deal with. Doesn't mean I can't respond and be kind of snarky to them. But I'm not hateful. I'm not cruel back, even if that is what they are. I might say a piece or defend my opinion if it is an opinion-based personal attack that you're also giving me. But that's it. Like, if you put yourself online, you have to know you'll get hate. You could literally just sit there breathing air and they'll find a way. They'll be like, this isn't ASMR. Like, they will find a way to be mad. So, again, even if you're talking about fans of just the Netflix series, just these seasons, they're going to be upset no matter what, because not every episode is Jonah and his bots, because you changed it. It's just the fact that it's anything and anyone new at all. It is going to make people upset. It just is what it is. And when you're a creator, and especially a creator on the internet, then you have to be steeled for that. You need to be steeled and ready for the hate to happen. And if you don't want to be, then just don't be on social media and stuff then, man. Like, because again, you will get hate no matter what you do. It's the law of the internet. Like, that's just what it is. Am I saying that people should direct any hate at these people at all? Any cruel comments? Absolutely not. I'm not saying go spread hate and vile things on the internet. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, as a creator or as a collective of creators, unless they are literally like threatening these people, you gotta let it go. And you have to let their words stand as they are. Because then it does look, even if it's not true, it does look like you're avoiding criticism, even if it's like not constructive. And it makes you look kind of lily-livered in that way, like you can't stand it. And it's it's gonna make those people more mad. But again, it's like, if you're on the internet, it is what it is. And then it's like, you also like, it's like how Kevin has the I Hate Tom Servo's New Voice banner. It's like, take it as inspiration to keep going and to make your stuff better. You know, like, I don't mean better as in like, oh, it's bad now, so it has to be better. But I just mean like stealing you and making you stronger to be like, I'm gonna show them what I can do. You know, maybe it's because I myself have self-hatred issues. So when someone's like, you suck, I'm like, you're right. but But I just feel like if you're going to be on there, and if you're going to have comments at all, if you're going to leave comments on, you've got to let some of the bad ones go through, man. You have to. Because then it does seem like you're like, well, I made this thing and it's perfect. But anyone that criticizes it or is mean to me about it, like, they can't say anything, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's what it kind of comes off as, like, no, this is my perfect thing. It's perfect. If you're not going to say it's perfect, I don't want you around. And again, I'm not saying everything is going to be constructive, but just because something's negative at all, even negative about a certain person's performance, again, I've had it to myself, and I'm the only one behind any of this. It's like, you got to take it. You got to at least be prepared for it. If you really don't like it, then turn comments off. If you want it to be this perfect sunshine and lollipops land, open a Discord server for you guys or something. If you want comments to be up and for it to not seem like you guys can't take anything, you can't be deleting stuff. Again, unless it's actual harassment and threats, which again, totally don't keep those up. But if someone's like, hey, I don't like this, don't just be like, okay, blocked. They're like, okay, banned. You can't comment. Blocked and reported. Like, you can't comment this anymore. Because from what I was seeing, for the people that had been there before the comments were deleted, it was just saying things against this cast and that they don't like them. And again, it's like people said the same thing about people said the same thing about Mike. Okay? You got to remember that. Internet was around when Mike came in. Internet didn't like Mike at first either, or a lot of them did not. It started a flame war. If you can't take a few mean comments on the Gizmoplex, it's like, where were you in 1993 when this happened the first time? Where were you in 2016 when this happened again? Like, I didn't mean to go off on anything here. Again, this is not a whole, like, I'm not angry about this or anything. I'm just saying, like, just from one creator to many others, like, dude, it's like, maybe you guys are used to working on normal TV or whatever, but it's like, if you're going to leave comments on a streaming service where you make everything from scratch and you changed a hell of a lot of stuff, even just from one season to the next, let alone the entire series that came beforehand, and then the Netflix one, and then this, it's like, you have to be prepared. If you're on the internet, crap's going to hit the fan sometimes. And sometimes it might just be one episode or one video that you make that people just don't connect with. And that's fine. But if it's a casting thing, you had the Joel and Mike flame wars. Like, I'm just like, don't pretend it isn't happening, I guess, is my biggest thing. Again, worst of the worst, cut those out. Absolutely. But otherwise, I don't think this criticism is constructive, delete. It's like, you can't always do that. I have had hate spewed at me on the internet. I've had people being like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, bro, it's called a review. If you don't like it, then leave. Same thing with this. If you're like, okay, if you don't like Emily and this crew, don't watch those episodes. Just watch the Jonah and Joel ones or whatever. Whatever your problem is, then don't watch those episodes. Like, that's up to them. Again, if they have constructive criticism, do listen to it. Well, this doesn't, and it was literally in quotes, by the way, on that comment, if you want to go look at it, that said, this criticism doesn't make the show better. And I'm like, okay, why'd you put that in quote? Like, it was a little sus. That was just something I happened to observe, and I really considered cutting this out. Like I saw it before I did my sign-off at first, and I was like, do I say anything about this or not? But I have to be honest, just as another internet creator, not that any of them are ever going to see this or give two shits about me. They won't. And if they ever watched it, they'd be like, you're just a hater because you didn't like Beyond Atlantis and you didn't like Reptilicus of the original one. You just don't like this. Like, I know that just by criticizing these at all, even in ways that I feel are mostly constructive, I've burned any bridge in terms of Joel and Mystery Science officially. I know that a lot of people have been genuinely upset at me on these reviews since season 11. I've had people that are like, you know what you're talking about. And then people that are like just today I posted my Robot Wars reaction and some guy was like, I'm unsubbing. Like, your opinion on this Kickstarter is just, it was a good run, but your opinion is so he said out of line. Okay. That's the thing. If you think my opinion on the Kickstarter is out of line, then I'm like, dude, why are you on the internet? Like, why are you watching anything that does not fully agree to your views? Like, if you feel that strongly about it, my God. Like, same thing with this. If people are having the same issues with Emily and Crow, especially like Beyond Atlantis that I was having, and then they're like, well, not just Emily and Crow, just this newer crew, and you're deleting their comments, again, actual hate, fine, but actual like, hey, I don't really like this very much. I think that they should have just done Jonah, whatever. That's not hateful enough to delete the comments, if that's what some of them are. I guarantee they were getting some real hate, because Jonah did too back in the day, and Mike did as well. All the new riffers have always gotten hate. Deleting it doesn't mean it will disappear. I guess to sum it up, that's my point. Every single new riffer, every single new bot voice had hate on the internet. Every single one. Every single one. Even the old ones. Josh has a story about when they were doing like an autograph line and a girl in front of him said, I hate the old servo. Like, they all have had hate in real life and on the internet. You have to be steeled. You have to be ready for it to happen. And if you're not, okay, don't go deleting the comments. That makes you look like a coward. It does. It makes you look like I can't take any form of anyone disliking the stuff I'm making. If you can't take any criticism, this is not the line of work for you. It really is not. Like, because you have to be steeled. You can't be a writer. Like, if you can't take any criticism, you can't, or again, even hate, you can't take any direct hate at all, you shouldn't be doing this. That is probably not for you, unfortunately. Or you at least need to work on that. Because your whole life, you're going to meet critics that aren't going to be fair, that aren't going to be constructive, that will just be mean or vile, and you know, you have to be able to move on. Like, see it and be like, screw you, or like, say you're sassy, send a sassy tweet and move on. You know? I mean, I feel like, I don't know, maybe just after 6 years of being on YouTube and the internet like this, I'm just like, bruh, like, please, this ain't nothing. So, you know, that's just my advice to my advice to anyone that wants to create anything. I had to put my 2 cents out there when I saw that, because I was just like, you know, it was just a tough situation overall. And again, I don't know what those original comments said. They could have been absolutely terrible, and I'm not defending the people that left them if that's what they were saying. I'm just saying, man, if you're on the internet, you gotta get used to it. So with both an It's a Wonderful Life rant and a comments on the internet rant finished, I think we're good to get out of here. So as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.